Hello everybody, Anthony here for the HOI4 channel. Welcome back to the New Order, The Last Days of Europe, and to my West Siberian Republic playthrough. We're in the last episode. I should rather say Sverdlovsk, that's who we were. We're now the West Siberian Republic with Boris Yeltsin in charge. Democracy is back. We are currently just working down to For a Better Tomorrow, which unlocks the decision to exert influence into the Southern Urals, and Lunch for Two. I also do want to start rebuilding the Republic, as well as also reaching out to the rest of the world to see what kind of contacts we can make. Right, let's go ahead and get the MiG-21, and that'll be as up to date on fighters, which will be very nice. Go ahead and replace the outdated fighters. We have got a decent sized army. Well, we are out of manpower now. Komi and Samara are still going at it for whoever's going to reform that part of Russia. 6 to 13 on 5 to 9. Okay. Decision wise, what do we have? That's got nothing for us. Can't do any of them yet. And then we've just got the regional development stuff. Yeah, they're basically the only part of Russia that's not been unified by someone, because we've got the Far Eastern Soviet Republic, the Siberian Free Territory, the Western Siberian Republic, which of course is us, and then whoever's going to form this bit. And then we do have the German Sovereign Zone and the flipping Moscow Autonomy, looking hideous. Really are looking hideous. Anyway, checks and balances. No true democracy can consider itself such without the implementation of a proper system of checks and balances. Checks and balances ensure that power is never centralized too much in the hands of one individual or groups of individuals. Such is needed in our republic with the army. Despite having already transitioned formally into a republic, the army still holds great sway in the nation's politics. We should work towards stripping away some of that power, perhaps coming to an agreement with the heads of the military to make it so. Yeah, we're kind of just trying to get the military to take a backseat role in politics now. They really don't need to have too much of a say themselves in it, since we have a civilian government now. Oh yes, I forgot there was conflict down here. It looks like they're holding them at the river. They did get pushed back, didn't they? Yeah, ever so slightly, so they must be doing a pretty good defense on the river. Ural League and Orenburg. You should join in. They could join in. They only have one division, 3 to 6. Yeah, they're not going to join in anytime soon with one division. That is pathetic. Now, we do have troops on the Kazakh border, just in case they do decide to do something, which highly unlikely. So now we've got divisions on all of our borders. Never know what could be around the corner. Then again, everyone's recovering from the overextended administration anyways. Unless these boys have managed to get rid of it. Which they have. Like I say, Siberian plan. Consumer goods plus 40%. Jesus. What the hell? A shaky foundation. While our republic is now a free and democratic governance, we still have many problems to deal with from the days of military rule, most notably of which is the extremely low level of citizen participation in our democracy. Many of our citizens are either unaware or apathetic of their new democratic rights and responsibilities in our republic. It's our responsibility to make sure they become informed about what they can and cannot do in our nation, and become active voters willing to act on their beliefs. So -5 stability, and then all the democracies get plus 10 support in here. Liberal democracy. Yeah, the liberal democracy has not got much of a support right now. Social. We are conservatives. Where's the social democracy? I don't think social democracy has anything. Nope. The authoritarian democracy still has the biggest sway over us. (10 to 23 divisions now. 13 to 27. Oh ho ho. Conflict is getting. I think we're getting close to conflict again. They have got tons of manpower available though. It's the only issue. We don't have too much left to spare. They'll probably go for the Far Eastern Soviet Republic first, because I think if we look at ours, controls Western Russia, which is of course over here. This is the east, so if we take over there, that'll be us ready to strike to the east. Anyways, despite setbacks in our transition into democracy, we have ever hoped that we will soon become a fair and equitable society. Already new political parties have formed and begun campaigning. Discussions about economics and political theorising are happening amongst every ordinary citizen, and people are starting to have faith in a system that just a year ago they couldn't even participate in. Russian people are on a path to true freedom, democracy. As long as we continue working together, there's nothing we won't be capable of. Good, and we'll see what that opens up, because it might not open up anything, for all we know. Research bonus, a low strikes is a weird one, but that's pretty good for you. That's almost 2 years there. Actually, it is 2 years. Create a mechanized, that's fine. Alexei gets 1 skill. Military factory. Improved training methods, which replaces the new Russian army with combined Russian army. Invincible and legendary. Encryption. So we're interested to see what these do. Our liquid currency reserve was increased by a small amount. Yeah, sail to Scandinavia. Interesting decision that would be. I think Comey's bottled this. Anyway, it's lunch for 2. Typical formal luncheon with the president was usually a full arrangement of his closest friends and advisors, all discussing current events or discussing topics, ranging from books to hunting. However, today was not a typical formal luncheon. The room was almost entirely empty, if not for 2 people within it, both discussing a small problem. Namely, Yevgeny Primakov's old ties to All Russian Black League. Evgeny Petrovranov, the man's former mentor before the two had cut ties, became a leading member of Dmitry Yazov's administration. Even with the Black League now dead and gone, the potential for scandals did not end with Yazov or Petrovranov's death. Exactly how many people do you think know Boris asked as he eyed Evgeny with a stern expression. We can't afford to let anyone capitalise on this, even if you had cut ties. Do not worry, it will be covered up, Primakov replied as Boris gave a gruff nod. I certainly hope so, otherwise both you and I will be on the streets at best. At worst. He didn't need to finish the sentence. Neither of the two did. Okay, did that open up anything else? No, that part of the tree is done. Okay, so how did... Oh, the race for the Urals. I want to do that. I think we'll go ahead and do reaching out. With Western Siberia firmly under our control, we can begin to participate in international politics once more. Our first task will be established contact with the outside world. During the warlord periods, Sverdlovsk was hard-pressed to get information to and from Arkhangelsk, let alone to far-off nations like the United States. With the region quickly stabilizing under our control, however, re-establishing contact shouldn't be any trouble at all. Should we be successful, our priority as a nation will be to gain recognition on the world stage, perhaps even to be recognized as a legitimate successor state to Russia and or the Soviet Union. Additionally, we should endeavour to begin trade negotiations with these larger powers such as the United States and Japan, as well as our neighbours. Good. I wonder what this does. Oh, the race for the Urals. To our west lay the Great Ural Mountains, the traditional border between Europe and Asia. This great mountain range is critically important to our unification ambitions. In the aftermath of the West Russian War and the collapse of the WRRF, the region was left bereft of any central authority. Many communes and villages looked to either the city of Orenburg or the soldiers of the Ural League for protection. Our intelligence report that offers fell under the sway of the NKVD remnants in Magnogorsk or were sacked by Dirwanger's brigade. Rising tensions after the end of the German terror bomb resulted in conflicts that have led to the region's current power structure. Urals present both an opportunity as well as a threat to our nation. Seizing the area's resources and population would be a great boon to our cause. However, on the far side of Ural, another unifier state claims its legitimacy as the true Russian government. Were this opponent to capture the Urals, they would be able to station troops on our side of the mountain range, threatening our western provinces. We must thus assert our prominence in the region through any way necessary. Our diplomats and generals have prepared an array of tools to bring the Urals into our sphere of influence. It is projected this side with the best combination of prestige, diplomatic success, and military intimidation will be able to be the first to tip over the local elites into accepting unification. Were the diplomatic option to fail, military intervention remains an option that our eastern rivals are not likely to accept easily. The race to Ural is upon us. We will triumph over our West Russian rivals, integrating our part of shattered Russia to our growing nation. Okay. Have 100 influence over this. Can I not just invade them? Increase investment. So neutral, neutral, neutral. Influence invested. Alright, let's invest then. So that's low now. Does it cost anything? We have 100. Right, that's high. What's this actually costing us? Don't know, but let's go ahead and increase influence everywhere. Increase it. We want to keep these high. Oh, that must have just changed. NKVD. Okay. So it doesn't look like we're going to be going out to the east anytime soon. So let's go ahead and put our troops onto there. Current influence is growing pretty quickly. Launch military integration. Ha! I'm very tempted to do that. Very tempted indeed, because we should be able to walk right over them, so I don't know how many folk will take too kindly to that, but Department of Foreign Affairs. With our unification to West Siberia, many foreign powers have become interested in our nation. A place was needed to conduct relations with other powers, and Batov has announced today the construction of the Foreign Affairs Office in Sverdlovsk. Many nations outside the German sphere have taken a liking to the strong independent Russia, and many may be interested in providing us with limited aid and recognition. We also have many resources other nations may want, so the Foreign Affairs Office will also work in conducting trade. However, our rivals across the border are also interested in having relations with these foreign powers, and may have to compete for this aid, although we are confident in our abilities to establish functional relations with all those who hold an interest on us. Let's approach the Eagle. The United States of America is one of the foremost powers on the face of the earth, rivaling both Japan and Germany in terms of influence and military strength. Given Russia's precarious situation between the latter two powers being on both their borders, sharing two of their largest land borders with both superpowers of any nation on the planet, it follows that the United States would have invested in our continued security and prosperity. Therefore, we should endeavour to endear ourselves to Washington, if for no other reason than to open the door for possible future agreements. Did that open anything else up? Initiate propaganda no, I'm not going to do that. I'm very tempted to invade them. Much quicker process for us. Launch military discredit. Yeah, declare war on all four of them. It's not a bad idea. When you think about it, it's not a bad idea, because we'll be able to stomp right over them, and it would allow us. This is a flippin' mess. I don't know what Comey and Samara are actually planning on doing with themselves, but honestly, it's ridiculous. Our influence is getting higher. Like, it's a 41% for you, not as great for in there, but do you know what? Stuff it, let's do it. So it's going to wait 74 days, that's fine. The Grand Showdown. Oh! Okay, that's great. We're just going to mop them up, really. Response from the USA. We received a message from the Americans that they have accepted our proposal. They've recognized the control over West Siberia and are open to trade relations, finally giving us a reliable partner to trade with. It's been a struggle to trade as we have limited access to the outside world and our neighbours are not exactly friendly towards trading with us. This should hopefully open up access to more resources for our military and civilian goods, as well as improving our standing with the Americans. Perhaps we could deepen our ties even more in the future. Good, let's go ahead and contact Rome now. Let's see what the Italians are up to. The Italians are in control of one of the largest single markets on earth. Their empire, stretching from bountiful Italy to oil-rich Arabia to the Suez in Egypt, has some of the greatest market potential on earth, not to mention the massive consumer base they control. It would be foolish to not at least attempt to get a foot in the door. We'll send a delegation to Rome to establish diplomatic relations and then attempt to begin negotiating trade. Should all go well, we will have a new trading partner and access to Italian financial institutions. Good. Wow, they died quickly. We've got Signal Company 2. Let's get Signal Company 3. What am I missing in here? Just anti-air, isn't it, that one? I don't think... Oh, we binned production on that, didn't we? Can our Air Force reach? Our Air Force can reach. What we will do is we will bin them just for the minute. And I can then go ahead and make them into batches of 100. Instead, we don't have the manpower. What we'll do is bin a couple of them. That gives us 20,000. It's 86. Oh no, there we go. Don't have tons of planes yet, like, I have to say. Not a great amount, but it'll suffice for now. Alright, how much longer? 39 days. Nice. Status of the district. Yeah, there's nothing really there. Have the Italians accepted? Have they answered our calls? We're going to do Dragonov's connections. Then we might harbour some personal objections against Yevgeny Dragonov and his many past dealings with our enemies. There's no denying the utility of his impressive array of foreign contacts and connections, many of which he has retained since South fell. We should call on Dragonov and see if we can come to a mutual beneficial agreement. We'll drop any and all charges against him from his time as an arms dealer and leader of South, and he will help us breach into new markets and set up trade agreements through his various foreign contacts. A win-win situation. Still don't believe the mess that this has turned into. It's very even. Only I could just mop them up now. Have we got rid of the... we have. We've fully recovered. That's good. Oh, I've just realised our production cost things cut we received a message back from Italy and it wasn't what we expected. Unfortunately, Italy denied our request for trade and has not recognised the government. We don't know if they are more interested in relations than our Russian government. We don't want to discuss business with Russia at all. It's an unfortunate loss for diplomatic standing and trade opinions. Maybe they will be more willing to trade another day. That's fine. That's fine. It's completely fine. I'm gonna use this tank to get to Belorsk. Oh, come on, it's time to take all the Urals for ourselves. We've already got some of the Ural mountains in our control. But we'll have a nice wee little way into Samara by securing this. What are you up to? Develop the Altai region? A pardon and a favour. Trade has always been a challenge for us since the beginning of unification. No easy ports to reach our neighbours willing to trade means a lot of effort has to be put into reaching simple trade deals that aren't always beneficial towards us. Costs have continued to rise for many important goods in both our civilian and military economies, and we are importing much more than what we were exporting. So our ministers have come up with a solution to our problems. Ever since our conquest of the warlord state of Zlatoust, its leader Dragunov has sat in our prisons. While he may have made mistakes in his past, pardoning him in exchange for his connections could be very useful. It's not like he can sell weapons to our enemies anymore. However, many of his contacts have been lost or scattered, so unfortunately we don't have access to every one of his contacts. Still, using Dragunov could be very useful, and these days we'll take whatever we can get. If the man who's betrayed our country in the past, so be it. Establishing a consulate. Yeah, let's go. We'll do this one. Our initial meetings with the United States went well. They seemed receptive enough to our delegation, and we managed to fit in some preliminary talks on what form their support of our nation might take if they were to aid us. Given the reasonable success of our venture he has had, we should request that we allow to establish a consulate in Washington. This consulate could act as a venue through which we might negotiate economic and military pacts with the government of the United States and even establish some less than official contacts in North America. Reaching out to the Americans once again. Oh, 5 days. 5 days. The invasion of the Southern Urals. Hey, 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 it's me. Yep, this is going. Yep, the Ural League's about to be defeated. Yep, there they go. How many divisions they got? 3 to 5. And we just cut off one down here. And they're dead. Success, diplomatic success. If we could use, the Americans said yes to establish a consulate. This brings our two nations even closer together and gives us even more options for diplomacy in the future. With an office in Washington, a firm connection has been created between us. The Consulate will also facilitate trade between our countries, giving the Americans more access to our resources and us more access to theirs. It seems this has been a very good deal for both of us, so hopefully our relationship will continue to grow. Fantastic. Right, let's go ahead and actually start rebuilding the Republic. Our West Serbian Republic is in poor shape. Recent battles and wars we've had on our path to unification has destroyed much of our infrastructure and industry, the conquered regions being in the worst shape. The state of affairs, of course, hasn't been helped by the preceding decade of warlordism and Luftwaffe bombings. It's high time we begin focusing our political and economic efforts on rebuilding the nation and raising the standard of living nationwide. If infrastructure and industry is there, it's just a matter of repairing and renovating it. Right, that's cool. And we have unified there. So we've got some more land to integrate. Let's go ahead and do all that straight away. And we now have a little border with them, the attaché. The US Army has hustled with activity as soldiers prepared for their military exercise. Roman Sidorov was excited to see the army in action after coming to America as a military attaché. One of the many bases around Washington, D.C. This one was special as it was one of the only that had monthly base-wide military exercises. UMC Sergeant Roman Sidorov, said a man with a large green cap, walking towards Roman with his hand outstretched. I'm Colonel Grayson Garnes, commander of the base. I'm glad you could visit. It's good to meet you, Colonel. Roman paused for a moment. He knew basic English, but he was not a fluent speaker. I was very interested in viewing your training exercise today. Would you care if I watched? Oh, of course you can watch. It is your job, isn't it? Said Garnes. Follow me. There's an excellent viewing platform a few yards away. I'm sure you'll enjoy seeing today's exercise. Roman climbed the platform with the commander, and a few minutes later the action began. The base had been divided into two teams, red and blue, and the army was practicing tank tactics and mobility warfare. Roman watched the American tanks speed across the fields and dodge obstacles, while still firing shells constantly. It seemed invincible, he thought. He had to get these tactics back to Sverdlovsk. Tank warfare would be necessary in Russia. You enjoying it, Roman? The commander said. These tanks are newly developed, just off the production lines. They'll be the first things those Germans or Japanese see in a fight with the US Army. We definitely don't have anything like it back in Russia. The tactics themselves are new to us. I'm sure my commander back home will be most pleased with what I've learned here in America. That's good to hear. Just don't let those notes drop into German hands on your way home, alright? You'll surely benefit from the tactics. Nice. I hope we can do some warring with the Americans. That would be pretty interesting. Yeah, let's go ahead and grab you. We're falling a little behind tech still. 1967. Chance meeting. Make sure the door was locked behind him. Boris Yeltsin waltzed into the fancy bathroom. Having to get out of the boring trade meeting, Boris always remembered to his contingency vodka bottle for things like this. Fortunately, the bathroom wasn't occupied, as an aide stood by the sink, washing his hands. The two met eyes, and the aide looked down at the bottle of vodka Yeltsin was holding. Yeltsin stood unable to speak much English, not exactly knowing how to get out of this one. Yeltsin shrugged, smiled, and produced a second shot glass. Aide looked at the glass, appearing to debate on whether to take up on Yeltsin's offer. Yeltsin poured the vodka into glasses. And Aide seemingly made up his mind, picked up the shot, and smiled. Cheers, he said, downing the glass. A few minutes later, the two went back to the trade conference. Aide sitting down next to the senator representing the Americans at the meeting. Necessary papers had finally arrived, so the time came to sign the dozen or so pages in front of Yeltsin. Finishing with the fourth page, Yeltsin had the senator say something in English to his translator. Senator Fulbright wants to ask how many shots his aide got. 2 before giving up. Mr. Yeltsin. Red-faced Boris to give his response to his translator. 2, and they weren't filled to the brim either. Senator broke out in laughter and spoke to his translator again. Next time you go out for a drink with my boy, Bill Clinton, here, have him make me proud by drinking 4 like a real man. What the oh well. That was a random one. Ah, we got 2 more factories as well. Oh, we're still producing outdated planes. Let's put them onto planes. Planes. How is this war still going? Like, what are they actually playing at? I think Samara is going to end up winning. Do you have any planes yet? That is what I'm most interested in with these two, because if we have air superiority, we should manage fine against them. Look at poor old little Vladivostok. It's not even called Vladivostok anymore, it's Ural. Just noticed that. Sad times. Japan's not really done much, have they? Does Japan actually do any warring at all in this, or do they just kind of like chill? You are, oh gosh, you are hella preparing stuff. Not preparing stuff, expanding. Bulgaria, Romania, Hungary, Slovak state, and Poland's all back with them. And they invaded Poland actually. Our unification was estimated was costly. Factories, roads, and railways all heavily damaged or destroyed in the fighting. With our enemies dealt with and the internal issues handled, we can finally make preparations to rebuild. The damage is not sparing, with cities destroyed and people starving, our economy is in shambles, barely function, and unemployment abound. Schools also lay abandoned with no funding for education. Bartering is rampant with no real money circulating through the country. To prepare for rebuilding of the district, Boris Yeltsin has ordered for new construction jobs to begin all across West Siberia. Rebuilding the core of our cities will let us increase our reconstruction efforts even more. Hopefully by the end, West Siberia will look radically different, and we will be close to recovery. Good. Right, let's go ahead and I guess we'll take inventory. There are hundreds, if not thousands, of pieces of equipment and weapons left over from the former warlord states that we conquered. While most of all of it is shoddily made, outdated, or in poor condition, most still work. Much of these rifles and their equipment is simply floating around out there, unchecked and free to be used by any insurgents who want to use it. We should endeavour to locate, catalogue, and store all the leftover equipment we can find and add it, into our own stockpile, both for safekeeping and emergencies. The situation may never call for these weapons to be used, but it's always better to have and not need than to need and not have. That is very, very true. A grand showdown in the cold days. Are we not going to be able to strike Komi or Samara, whoever wins? The showdown. Okay. Congo's just blew up. Oh gosh, I didn't realise Congo blew up. Look at this. What a mess. Of course, we do still have the little bit of Germany that's there. Africa now, kind of doing quite good. Their independence is there. They're a lot of free boys, including Free France. Oh, we got 6 more factories. I think the T64 is time for you to get into production. And motorized, early motorized equipment. Yeah, we'll need to flipping upgrade them. Out of date trucks, not really what I want to be having. Out of date anything really is just no. Low strikes. Let's go ahead and increase reconstruction efforts. Reconstruction of our territories has taken longer than expected. The fighting of recent wars, combined with the already critical lack of infrastructure into and through rural areas, has made the process infinitely more slow. Over half of our expenditures so far have been exclusively towards repairing roads and other infrastructure, and we've made little progress actually addressing the people's needs as a result of this. Our reconstruction efforts must be redoubled with increased funding and manpower if we are to make a difference. Good. It's quite nice for 730 days, those. It's going to be a hell of a big showdown between folk. Yeah, I'm sure Samara is going to win this. Taking stock, quartermaster walk through the warehouse. Fighting being brutal. Yeah, I'm not going to read that one. It doesn't really do much for us. Import heavy machinery. Invest in construction. Zimbabwe declaring Botswana Zimbabwe Democratic Front. What? Zimbabwe. Okay, that's an interesting war. Okay, cool. Oh, the Italian Algerian government as well. How's the Iberian Union doing? The State of Union unstable. Yeah, that. Yeah, that's not good for them. Civilian industry. Let's go for the civilian industry. Civilian industry is vital to the strength of our nation. An economy focused entirely on military production cannot function. Civilian industry provides us all of the quality of life needs our people might have, be it toasters, plows, light bulbs, shovels. Most importantly, for the government, civilian industry helps grow the economy and provides materials with which to build more factories, such as steel, concrete, and glass. If we're able to rebuild Russia, we'll need to invest into civilian industry so that we can produce said materials that do so. Come on, I just want to keep invading folk. I just want to keep growing, getting stronger. I might as well make them a little bit more even in numbers. Yeah, I think Kobe's gonna die. Heavy industrial robotics. Excellent, excellent. There's Signal Company 3. Yeah, we're up to date on tanks. Motorized equipment, though. Yep, we need the ZIS 151. Comey's got 3 to 7 left, 4 to 10. Well, the civilian industry is done. Let's go ahead and do the defense industry. Civilian industry is of course important. Civilian industry is important for a peacetime economy and will be necessary for rebel in Russia. With nations in Germany and Japan at our border, not only do we need the best equipment, we also need as much of equipment as possible. That's very true. We've not got the Japanese on our border just yet, like. I hate this little inlet they've got here on me. Border looks quite nice up until that point and in here. If it was nice and straight, very pleasing to the eye. I'm just interested to see if this war is going to finish before the episode finishes. The 9K32 Strela 2. Let's get that researched. Samara just lost the division there. Very well could be the case. Anyways guys, I'm going to leave that episode there, so thank you very much for watching, and I shall be back next week for another episode. So until then, take care, cheer bye, the now.